CMON Games has printed quite a couple of popular titles, including many original properties that they own, but it seems one of them is getting a comic book series. Rising Sun, which is a Japanese feudal fantasy game from Eric Lang, is getting its own mini 3-part comic series from IDW. The game itself follows the different tribes where you fight over feudal Japan, including summoning monsters to help you with that in order to prove you have the greatest clan. The comic plans to follow Chiyoko from the Koi clan as she leads some of the strongest warriors from all the other clans to defend Japan from dragons and other monsters. The first issue is slated for November, but apparently all issues will include content for the game itself for devoted fans.
The comics will be written by Ron Mars and David Rodriguez, who previously worked together under the IDW label for a series based on the Skylanders video games. Ron Mars has also worked on a ton of other comics from Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Star Wars comics, a whole bunch. And they're going to be illustrated by Martin Kokoro, who has also done a lot of comics, including a lot of DC titles. I think that tends to happen with people who work in the comic industry. You kind of get your fingers in a lot of different pies. And, you know, this is not the first time we've seen a board game become a comic. Dead of Winter happened. I believe that was also published by IDW. So clearly this is something they're interested in. And Rising Sun is a game that both of us really liked. I think it was on both of our top 10 lists the year that it came out. And so this is kind of a cool thing to see happen. But I know my first reaction when I heard about it was I was a little bit surprised because Rising Sun, while it has some original stuff in it and creations in it, it's largely based on Japanese mythology. So I wonder why specifically they were interested in that game as a story versus just a more generic kind of taking Japanese myth. You know what I mean?
Well, I think this is one of the ways that they can do Japanese myth, but say like, look, it's based on this property.
Right, they love
like,
that.
I think I akin this to Cowboys and Aliens.
Right. Yeah, everything sells better. Even if you've never heard of the property, you're like, it's based on something? I better buy it.
Or at least a producer is more likely to fund it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first thought, because playing the game, I like the game a lot and I like seeing all the monsters, but for the most part, I don't think of it like, because I don't think, oh, there's this named person and I want to know more about them. It's more of, I think of it more of like a Euro game, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you. Although to give the game a little more credit, it is a beautiful game, and the lore is really cool. And even though, like you said, you don't feel like you're playing with characters, but
right,
the universe is very immersive.
That's true, and to argue myself, you know, I'm one of the few people who wants to return to Kamigawa in Magic the Gathering, which is heavily Japanese lore to the point where it failed because of that.
So it's a thing that we're interested in. Now, what do you think about including game content in these?
I'm curious because I'm like, does that mean a promo card or something? Which I find to be a little bit annoying. If it's just a sheet of rules to be like, look, if you want to play this scenario.
Like a mini expansion kind of?
Yeah, in which case that's like, it will be on BoardGameGeek.com where I can just look at it if I chose not to read the stories, you know?
Yeah.
They didn't really specify what they meant there. And like, even then, it's like, are they just naming some pieces too? Like, I don't even know if it's actual expansion with rules and stuff. It just seemed weird the way they worded it.
I wonder,
in the article
I wonder if even they might have, like, it's in plastic and there's a little mini in there, you know, and even it may be like, and because it's only 3 issues, they said, that's maybe a little more likely because it's not like.
Well, I think the mini's less likely because that's a whole other thing to print. Like a card or something.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, because it's such a small print run that they could get away with it, as opposed to, like, it's not like every month they have a new thing in it. I mean, I guess I don't know. It seems like it might be hard to. What kind of a card do you add to the game that's not tied to a new one of the laws or something like that that can go up on the top? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities.
One of the things I was thinking of, I'm curious your thoughts on, because this Rising Sun's actually part of a trilogy. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but include Blood Rage and the new Egyptian game that's coming out.
Right, Ankh.
So I'm curious, do you think if this does well, are we going to see not only comics of that, or will they actually come together, so to speak?
Maybe that would be cool. I mean, like we said, IDW. I guess they had success with Dead of Winter. So if the relationship goes well,
would you want it? I guess it would be.
I don't know that I want this, to be honest. Not that I would read it. I bet it'll be cool and fun, but it's not something that I ever thought like, man, I hope they make a comic based on this game.
That's true.
And again, for those like Egyptian lore you know, it's cool, but I don't know that I specifically need it tied to that game. Well, we'll find out in November when this is released, and if we decide to pick it up, we'll let you know what we think about it. But we'd like to hear from you if you're interested in this comic series, and what kind of game content would you want, or maybe that you wouldn't want them to put to include with it. Let us know in the comments section down below, or what other games from the same publisher you would like to see turned into a comic book.
Maybe you were wishing that there was a Zombicide one, or maybe there isn't and we just don't know about it. Let us know in the comments down below. But until we read them, I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
This has been Roll for Crit.
We would love it if you liked and subscribed to this channel and supported us on Patreon as well.
For legal reasons, we've got to disclose we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with more awesome content.